Welcome to Turning Moments into Movements, where each week we explore simple but powerful wellbeing tips to help you live a balanced and fulfilling life. My name's Leanne Ross, your host and the founder and coach of my business, Happyluia, and I will be taking you through today's 15 minutes of insight and inspiration. Let's get started. Hello and welcome to Turning Moments into Movements, the very first episode. And I am so grateful that you have decided to tune in and listen to this very first episode. So what I wanted to do was to do a bit of an introductory session so you as a listener can get a bit of insight around who you're listening to, so a bit about me and my story, why I've decided to launch this podcast. We're going to be covering what content that will be featured in future episodes. We'll also be giving a bit of insight around when they will be released and where you can get them as well, which you probably already know because you're listening to this episode, so you've obviously found us okay, which is great. So, where to start? So, my name is Leanne Ross, and initially I started my career in social work. So, I'm a qualified social worker. I love learning, I love developing, I love expanding. So, after I qualified as a social worker, I also began to study and qualify in different areas around supporting people as part of my career journey. So I'm now a certified coach. I'm a law of attraction practitioner. I'm also have a certification in counselling skills. I'm a trauma trainer, so lots and lots of different working experiences. I've also been a social worker front facing. I've also been in senior service management. I've worked a bit around being in education. I've been a trainer, so lots and lots of different skill sets that I have from a working capacity. And what I do within my coaching style, within my business, Happyluia Coaching and Mentoring, I merge all of these different skill sets, different levels of expertise in a way that feels right for the client, and in this case, in supporting yourself as a listener. I love learning. I love supporting people in a way that feels right for them, and that's a huge value of mine, supporting people in a way that is person-centered and is very solution-focused as well. So that's my professional life. My personal life, where to start with that? So you will hear more around my personal life in future episodes, but bringing it in to a very shortened version, I was very successful in the career that I was in before my business, and I left my whole career behind because I was extremely burnt out. I was extremely stressed. I'd experienced chronic stress for probably the last decade of my life. My well-being just wasn't there. I had really poor well-being, and all areas of my life I really felt unhappy about and unsatisfied in because I just sacrificed everything for my career. And that really led me to want to make big changes in my life. And what I found was when I aimed to succeed in those big areas, I kept failing. And the reason why that was because I wasn't focusing on the smaller changes that I could implement straight away and build up to. I was waking up on a Monday and aiming to just change my whole life within the week. And that continuation of failing at the goals that I was setting really disempowered me and really affected my well-being and mental health even further. So that's why I focus on turning moments into movements. So making small changes, little steps into bigger changes within your life. Now, the reason why I started a podcast was because when I was in that place of feeling really burnt out, really stressed, I was seeking support from so many different areas of my life. And what I found was when I was right in the middle of burnout and stress, I was working so many hours a week. Ballpark figure 80 to 100 hours consistently every single week. I wasn't able to sit and spend hours and hours and hours researching different strategies that could support me. I wasn't able to get myself to a place where I was able to use my own knowledge and understanding around how to support other people. I wasn't able to do that to myself because I was so stressed and dysregulated all of the time. And I remember driving to work one day when I was really stressed, and my commute to work was about 10-20 minutes every day. And I remember thinking, I wish I could find like a podcast or an audiobook or something where I could just listen to my commute to work, and from my commute to work, that would just give me a bit of insight around what on earth I'm doing with my life and how I can start to make changes. Because that commute to work was the only time I wasn't sitting at my laptop, I wasn't answering calls, I wasn't waking up in the middle of the night and checking my work phone. My commute, although it was only 15-20 minutes, that was my protected time, and I valued that so much. And this is why I wanted to set up this podcast for people like me, like how I was several years ago, to give you this small token 15 minutes of information that's accessible, that's gonna hopefully help you in a lot of ways during your protected time that you're carving out for yourself every week. So that's my why. That's my big why. In terms of what we will be covering, so I have a 5-pillar approach that I coach. So I have big coaching programs, I have coaching memberships, I go into businesses and support them with wellbeing strategies. So I do have a lot of different branches of my business, all of which you can find on my website, which I'll drop in the show notes. But ultimately, it all comes down to 5 pillars that I cover. So the first pillar is all about workplace empowerment. So making changes to your workplace that allows you to have more balance in your life. Really reflecting on things like strategies, effective decision making, being solution focused, managing your time well, prioritization. And all of these skill sets, can be transferable to your personal life as well. So it's a really good pillar to start with. The second pillar is all about holistic modelling. So really recognising how your whole life can be impacted by your well-being. So within the holistic model that I utilise, there's 8 different areas of life. So 8 dimensions of life. The first one is environment, second one, intellectual growth, mental health, career, spirituality, financial, physical health, and social. So we will be looking at each area within the episodes and really giving you that bit of guidance around what I found helpful, what my clients have found helpful, and what other practitioners, what other expertise have told me during my coaching journey. So we will be covering the holistic model, so looking at all of your life as a whole. The third pillar is all about mindset work. So one of my favourite ones. We'll be talking about how to shift from a stagnant mindset to a growth mindset. We will be reflecting on self-limiting beliefs, so how to challenge beliefs that are limiting you in some way. And I will also be covering areas of the law of attraction. Now, the law of attraction is a spiritual concept, but don't worry if you don't identify as being spiritual. It is a technique that will also help you in a lot of ways as well. The fourth one is all about stress management, how to emotionally regulate yourself. We'll also be touching on self-care, how to protect that, how to include that within your life. And the last one is goal setting and goal achieving. So really setting yourself up to success. I always say it's setting your stage to success. So really kind of being intentional with where you want to go with that. So that will be the general kind of 5 areas that we will be touching on, but by all means there will be so many different areas, so many different concepts that I will inevitably pull in to these episodes as well, because well-being is such a huge topic. When these sessions, these episodes, these trainings will be released will be on a weekly basis. You will also receive ad hoc bonus material from me as well. Probably things like meditations. I love doing a meditation. So that will be dropped ad hoc as well. And then where? So I guess 2 areas of the where. First one is where the podcast will be launched. So that will be on Spotify, Apple, and all of your favourite podcast platforms. The taboo in the room, I should have mentioned at the very start, is where am I based? Because you're probably sitting wondering, where on earth is that accent from? So yeah, I am based in Scotland. So I'm based in Scotland, I'm from Scotland, I live in Scotland, but I'm also well travelled, so I've lived in different areas of the world, so I am pretty well cultured. I'd love to think that I am anyway. I really promote and support inclusion and diversity, but my accent is probably a little bit all over the place because I've had to enunciate to many different people who maybe don't understand my thick Scottish accent. So my accent has changed throughout the time, which I guess is a good way to round off, because that's what we're really going to be focusing on in these episodes: how to transform, how to transition yourself from A to B, how to reach those goals and set those intentions that you really want to support and develop your well-being. I cannot wait to continue this beautiful journey with you, to inspire you, to support your healing, to empower you, to inform you. And please make sure that you stay in touch. I can be found on all social media platforms. Make sure that you drop me a line. I would love to hear from you. And yes, I really look forward to continuing on this beautiful journey of turning your moments into life-changing movements. I'll speak to you next week. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of Turning Moments into Movements. Why not check out coaching opportunities with me so you can really begin to enhance your moments into huge movements and begin to live the life you never thought possible? Details are in the show notes. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, leave a review and share this episode. Remember to also follow me on social media platforms through my handle Happyluya, where you will receive additional daily content. And finally, make sure you join us next week for more tips on how you can turn your small moments into life-changing movements.